Like the object of the powerful today is to conceal their power. It's
Exactly.
It's not about being apparent anymore.
It's no longer a noble in a castle that you can storm with the other peasants.
Yeah.
It's something way more complicated than that.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what it means. The rulers in the shadow, the hidden rulers, are self-assured. Their secrecy is their assurance, assurance of their supremacy.
Content over everything!
That's right.
Their castles unseen. They have no single castle to storm. They have no single ideology to fight against.
Yeah.
Their power transcendent. That's how their power is far greater than the powers before them.
Yeah.
Because it's not clear what it is.
Yeah, it's
they're
subtle
so
and
intelligent
everywhere and nowhere.
that it's hard to even assume what they are actually thinking.
Yeah, yeah. That's
But
not...
their fall is secured. For from fear no being is independent. In the end, even the most powerful humans are humans. They have the flaws of humans and they can be defeated by other humans.
Yeah.
And every single cycle rewinds eventually.
Yeah.
And thus the powerful people we have now will be overthrown eventually by other people as humanity evolves.
Just be
I don't think
replaced.
so.
No?
No, do you know why?
No power is absolute and eternal.
No, because everybody has had their opportunity to rule, and the powers that are there now, they're like the last of everybody that's ruled. So when you think of all the Persians that used to rule the world, and then you got the Babylonians, and then you got the Greek.
The Babylonians were before the Persians.
Yeah, but I'm making a point. What I'm saying is that they've all had their chance to rule.
Yeah.
And the powers that are ruling now, basically, is that there's no more powers to come. This is it. Whoever wants to...
There's always more power to come as long as humans have ambition.
Whoever wants to come and join the party now will have to be part of their group. The ones that are there now, they're not gonna vacate.
Not necessarily.
They're not gonna vacate.
No, not necessarily. And that's where the last part of the poem, and my personal favorite, comes. As a raven through the battle sky will soar, they will be haunted by the apostle of war. Because every power has an apostle of war to eventually put an end to it. Every single structure of power eventually crumbles under its own weight. And there is one person or one specific entity to finish it off, to give it the coup de grace, as they say in, as the French knight said. The coup de grace means the strike of mercy. It means when a knight was defeated, the other knight would pick a knife and would stab him in the neck and kill him, or stab him in the skull, something like that. And, I think we can give different examples of that. For example, in Ukraine, the previous power were the pro-Russian oligarchs that were overthrown by the more pro-EU oligarchs. But they're still oligarchs. They're still functioning under the same rules. But there are many different, factions of them. Many different factions of the powerful. There are many different powers around the world. There isn't one single entity that is ruling this world from the shadows.
I said, whoever comes up now will have to be part of their group. Whoever is ruling the world now, if anybody comes and tries to say, I rule the world or I want to be part of ruling the world, they'll have to join wherever that secret society is.
Yeah. So that's where you guys kind of disagree, or where the language is. You're coming from a position is that your position is that there is a secret society or a
no,
a
not necessarily,
or
not necessarily a secret society. But what I'm saying is that whoever rules the world now, whoever that might be,
nice one,
whoever that might be, wherever they live.
Who rules the world now? Who do you think rules the world now?
It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is that what he's saying is that they're gonna demise their rule with demise. But what I'm saying is that it will never, from here on now, whoever comes up now will have to join them.
Join who?
Whoever rules the world. That's the point.
But who rules now? That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. What his point is that we can't see them. We don't know where they are, and we don't know how they operate.
Yeah, we can't be absolutely certain of the people who truly are.
Oh, so you mean like there's
world.
people that we don't know that are ruling the world?
That's his point.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
but that's not always the case. Sometimes you
Whereas
can see
in the past, the rulers of the world,
they were obvious in the past.
they made themselves known. That's why I gave.
Nowadays, it's more ambiguous.
That's
who's
where where I gave you the example.
But who is it? Who are we thinking? Who are we talking? Rothschilds?
Well,
bankers? I mean, yeah. I mean, there's different.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean.
You see, if we talk
But
about
that's
the magnets, for example, or as Some people say it's the bankers. Some people say it's the
Corporatists.
Rothschilds. Some people say it's the
That's not the
Jews.
point.
Yeah.
But you know,
that's not the point. The point
what
is that-
I believe in is that there isn't one specific group that has absolute power in the world. There are many different groups
Yeah.
who somehow cooperate with each other, but not really cooperate.
Yeah.
They only coexist with each other.
serve their own interests.
Yes, because
So-
if they enter in an open warfare, first of all, they will be noticed. They will be seen by the sheep. The wolves will be seen by the sheep. And secondly of all, there will be a lot of chaos and a lot of loss of their cattle. Again, the sheep, the ruled ones.
So China's arguably the most powerful country in the world. You could argue that they run the world, right?
No.
I mean, in terms of
Why?
military might, economy.
No,
they've not
China is
been put to the
way
test.
less
They've not
mighty
been put-
than the United
China-
States, man.
In what sense? Militarily or
Militarily, yes. The United
China-
States has more
technology-wise?
technology.
But they got bigger armies.
China-
right?
Yeah,
China-
but it's just numbers.
China has not
Okay.
been put to the test yet.
The
so
Soviets
nobody knows
almost
how
lost the
strong
war
they are.
against the Nazis, and the Nazis had a much smaller army. They had even technologically, their technology was not much superior to the Soviets, and the Soviets had much greater numbers of technology, even though their quality was slightly
China has
worse.
good technology, though, right?
Yeah, it does,
Yeah,
but
but
I would
China's
say
not been
the
put to the
USA
test
is
yet,
much
so
has a
nobody
much
knows.
better
Okay, China.
technology.
Okay, maybe US. is
Quality
more
over
powerful,
quantity
but China's
over
what?
usually triumphs.
Second, third. Do you think?
No, but they've not been put to the test yet, so nobody
No, I'm just
knows.
saying, in terms of who
As
runs
one
the
of the
world.
Greek
is this
sayings
test?
goes,
China's up there, right?
to
Well, they'll
lead
have to-
untrained men
they'll have
into
to,
battle
like, basically
is to discard them.
destroy an
Or
army.
a group of
Powerful
untrained
army.
men in a battle is the same as a heap of building materials.
Or
It can be
they
equivalent
go
to a
on
house.
rampage
It's the
and
same
and
equivalent.
conquer the whole world.
It's as equivalent to
So
an
do you
army
think
as the.
leadership in
They're
China has
pretty close
just
to
to
doing that
prove,
without an army.
connections with America?
I think they are part of the rulers. They have their own rulers in
Yeah.
China,
And
their
they work with
rulers.
American and-
Their rulers, yeah, they are in more competition with each other than, for example, the European rulers are with the USA, even though they're not exactly
not
the same
necessarily.
rulers. Why not necessarily?
I mean,
What's
you can say Britain and France might be with the US, but not everybody else.
You don't think Germany is with the US?
Germany only serves Germany's interest. I don't think the Germans.
What's the
are-
German interest in doing what Merkel has been doing lately?
Yeah, but
I
what-
can't
what
see
we
the
s-
French
what-
serving anyone else's interest at any point.
No, I'm saying you could argue that only Britain and France are with the US historically.
Why?
Historically,
I mean, Germany is very much linked to the US.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Why do you think they're less linked than France?
France.
I mean, Britain is linked because Britain is Britain. They
linked with a
owned
lot.
the United States before.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they did.
Well, they did. Yeah, they,
They
did.
did.
Yeah,
Historically,
They
yes,
owned.
yeah.
I didn't say they owned. They
Yeah,
owned.
But the
Yeah,
US, if you think about the US historically, yeah, there's like New England, that was mostly settled by British people. But then you go sort of further south, you've got French and Spanish people, and German.
No,
funny
the
enough,
French were more north, like New York, going out.
No, they were
No,
both.
New
They were
York-
Canada and New Orleans. And
Yeah,
those-
going out.
so and
New Orleans is
and
down
New
south.
York was Dutch.
Yeah, New Orleans is French.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
New York was settled by Dutch people, by the way.
Yeah, it was called Amsterdam.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
Amsterdam.
But you know, for me, the big question in all of the business of power is, I'll just read you this little part.
So what is your
The
purpose?
winners consume. Wait.
We're talking about poetry.
The winners
Oh,
consume
poetry.
the defeated. The wolves are ruling their sheep. Justice depends on how cattle is treated. Yes, the price of ambition is steep. For me, justice depends on how cattle is treated, on how humans are treated by their predators, by the people in power.
Sounds like you want socialist governments then, right? They're going to treat the people the best, right?
No, that's the absolute opposite
No, but that's what
of
the
what I'm
socialists will
saying.
say. They put the cattle
That's what
first,
they
right?
will say, but socialists are never to be trusted. They're absolute liars. They are the bottom of the
Well,
bottom.
I
honestly.
mean, you could argue that point because would you say that the Roman Empire they treated their own citizens really bad? I don't think they did.
They said
They
treat them
created
well.
a far greater civilization than existed before. They
Exactly.
improved
They
everything
created the idea
for
of
the future.
But yet, the demise of the Roman Empire at the end of everything was pure chaos.
It wasn't pure chaos. Even
Well,
the
it
barbarians who took over the Western Roman Empire, they implemented some of the things that
No, I'm talking about the
were
people, the
in
actual
It
people.
was one of the longest. Was it the longest surviving empire ever, or one of the longest?
One
ever,
of the
right?
longest. I'm not sure if it's the longest.
It might be
actually.
the longest continuous empire, right?
Might be. It was very
for
long
any
time.
empire to last that long is
It's very
eventually-
admirable how long the Roman
Because even
Empire
then,
survived.
where do you draw the line? Like where was the Roman Empire? Like, was there like a day or several months that you can identify that this is where the Roman Empire fell? It sort of took a very long time.
Yeah,
It depends when you're talking about the Eastern or the Western Roman Empire. They
Western.
had very different dates
Yeah,
for
the,
their fall.
the Byzantines.
If you count the Eastern Roman Empire, it's even longer than the whole Roman Empire.
yeah.
It's, you know, I think the eastern part of the Roman Empire is actually the longest surviving empire.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah.
Because it really survived for a very long time. It only fell when
back then.
the you know, I don't even think it fell when the Constantinople was conquered.
Ottoman or
When first, you know, there were a few peoples who conquered
Ottomans
Constantinople. There was a crusade that went into Constantinople, and they conquered Constantinople. They created what they called the Latin Empire.
Yeah.
But eventually, the you know, the Byzantines, they reconquered Constantinople, and eventually, you know, when the Ottomans finally conquered Constantinople, that's usually considered as the end of
Yeah.
the Eastern Roman Empire,
Yeah.
as the end of the Byzantine
so
Empire.
that's like what, 2,000-3,000 years or something, or continuously like.
very long,
Even-
very, very
and
long.
if you look at, and if you also go so far as to look at the practices that are done in the Vatican for selecting the Pope, those are offshoots of how they would select emperors
Oh,
back
yeah,
in
yeah.
Rome.
Yeah.
So you could say that many
Of
of,
course,
the customs
part of
that
the
you would
Roman
consider
Empire still lives on.
Roman still exists.
The
Yeah.
basics of law in the West was created by the Romans.
Yeah.
The basics of all the law that we have now. You know, the Romans are very important for everything. But yeah, that, you know, that's my opinion about
What
the
basics or the basis?
the basics.
Basics.
Okay, the basis.
The basis.
The basics and the basis, both. You know, the basics
But then
of our law
the-
can be traced to the Romans, and the base of our law was made by the Romans, and the rest of the law was built on top of it, kind of emulating it, kind of coming from it. You know what I mean?
I mean, the Greeks had a lot to play with.
They did.
Yeah,
They did. The Greeks and the Romans
took a
were
lot from
both
the
very
Greeks,
important.
and
Exactly.
and Rome emulated in its early
Exactly.
But
Roman
what a lot
culture
of
was
people,
emulating
what a
lot
lot of people
Greek.
forget is that you know the Greeks, they were there for a very long time.
They were, yeah.
A very long time. I'm talking around the time of even. Do you know about Mesopotamia?
It's the first civilization.
Yeah. So just after Mesopotamia, you had the
Sumerian civilization, yeah.
you had the Greeks and the Egyptian Empire straight after that. So
Yeah.
they were.
And the Chinese Empire.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot of
debatable
stuff
which
going
one
on,
came
yeah.
first, but yeah, after the Sumerians, there was the Greeks, the Egyptians, and the you know, and the Chinese.
Well.
But look, I just
But so
like
they
to
were-
address
they were-
something that people sometimes call me out on. They sometimes tell me that Sumer was not the first civilization.
First written in written history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is how you
Because they
define
invented writing.
a civilization.
Of course, they're the first one.
People keep
They
telling,
created writing.
you know, telling me, oh, you know, there were artifacts before. I know there were artifacts before
we know nothing
Sumer.
about them.
There were lots of artifacts from all around the world, but
just
exactly
guessing what they
for
used, yeah.
for the first civilization to be the first civilization, they need to be civilized. They need
But
to
also-
write. They need to have a very, you know, good structure of power.
Also,
like the Sumerians.
you're forgetting that we don't know how long the Mesopotamian Empire was for.
We kind of do. I
No,
don't know
not
how
really.
to tell you, but
Not really. A lot of people don't know.
we have historical records of it, of
Yeah,
the first
so-
Sumerian, you know, settlements.
and
of
an
the
important-
first-
and an
of
important
the,
factor.
the first, I would say, the first kingdom was the kingdom of Uruk. It was a city in Mesopotamia. It was the
Sumer,
very
yeah.
first one, the Sumerian kingdom of Uruk.
No, I'm coming
Uruk
from.
was
I'm
like
coming
the first
from.
city.
I'm coming from the place of where they built the Tower of Babel after the floods.
Well, that's
That's
kind
where
of
I'm.
a
That's
myth.
where. That's where I'm
Story,
coming
you
from.
know,
Yeah,
that's
it's kind
true.
of a myth.
No,
Yeah,
it's not a
nobody
myth.
really
It's
knows.
not a myth. That's part of Moses's.
we don't know
Yeah,
if
but
it's true,
Moses
though.
is a myth himself.
according to you.
Well,
That's according
Okay,
to
how
you.
do you see, how can you tell that
He goes
Moses
by
is
historical
historical?
record only, not
Exactly.
religious.
I don't go
Yeah.
by religious
No,
records.
but Moses is not religious.
of course
Yeah,
it
he is.
It's not written in historical books. It's written in religious books.
Exactly.
Moses is a historical person. He lived in a time.
So,
And do you have evidence
Okay,
other than the
Jesus
Bible
is a
that
historical
corroborates
figure
that?
because we have proof of Jesus existing besides the Bible. There's a historian, Roman historian called Tacitus, or Tacitus, however you want to say his name.
Don't
He wrote
forget,
about Jesus.
What's his name?
So we can be
don't
sure that
forget-
a
don't
guy
forget
called
the
Jesus
Jewish-
exists.
Don't forget the Jewish historian Josephus also wrote about Jesus.
Okay, but
yeah, Jesus existed. I don't think that's a debate.
Abraham existed.
I
Well, he
don't
did.
know.
So did Moses.
Fine,
Actually,
okay, you might accept those people existed, but I don't really accept their holiness. That Moses opened
And they might not have been
opened a hole in the Red
But
Sea.
that's a different question. What
brought
I'm saying
these
is that these people actually existed.
But we don't
That's-
know if they were Jews or Hebrews. We don't know that.
Yeah,
The
Moses
stories
not-
that are written
Moses-
in the Old
we
Testament-
might
Mo-
accept that they existed. But
No,
not,
Moses-
You know, the
Moses
flood was in the
exactly.
Sumerian religion. They had the floods.
Moses.
Yeah, they
So a
had
lot of
many
these stories
floods.
were transcribed onto
Moses.
floods
Moses
were very common in the Sumerian
Yeah.
religion.
Hang
That's
on.
how they invented
These
their
stories might
first
be
Hang on.
gods.
Mesopotamian stories that were
Moses,
translated
Moses is not from the tribe of Judah. He's from the tribe of Levi. So you're right. He's not a Jew.
Okay, you know what I mean. He part of the Jewish tradition. He existed as part of the Israelites or whatever, the people of God. The stories that are attributed to Moses and to Noah, there's a lot of identical stories in the Mesopotamian and Sumerian religion. So the flood and things like this, these stories were copied over. A lot of evidence. to say that they're
but
the
then
same story.
again, all the historical, even the Roman Empire,
And the Jews
right?
were slaves in Mesopotamia. They took a lot of stories from kings and people in Babylon. You know.
The first
The
religious story ever
in
was
Mesopotamia.
Enuma Elish
In
from the
Mesopotamia,
Sumerians.
there were no such people as Jews because Abraham came after the Mesopotamian Empire.
No, the Nebuchadnezzar was the king and he enslaved.
No, Nebuchadnezzar, you're talking about the Babylonian Empire. That was thousands of years after
Yeah, but
Mesopotamia.
that's what I'm saying. Jews were in the region, and there's theories that say a lot of the mythology came from the.
No, that's the Babylonian Empire.
That's what I'm talking about, Babylonian.
Yeah, but Mesopotamia is different from
Okay,
what
sorry, I
happened in
meant
Babylon.
Babylonian. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's theories that say the
Good talk,
stories
good talk.
in mythology
Yeah,
of Babylonia are the same
in
stories.
Babylon, that's when Daniel was Daniel and his friends, and his friends were held in captivity by Nebuchadnezzar. But that was like 300 years before the Roman Empire. I could be wrong, but it was about 300 years before the Roman Empire. I could be wrong. You can check it out, but the Mesopotamian Empire, that was like literally after the floods. Literally after the floods.
Do you think the stories are literal in the Old Testament?
They're historical. Whether you want to accept them or not is a different matter. But I believe that historically they have been proven.
Oh, now speaking to me.
Content over everything from your belly.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky Magic. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to Sky Magic. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE. If you see me in COE, cut it over everything. COE.
Man, not in the no BBC. Man, not in the no ITV. Not even listen to the MUM. They just listen to COE.